Alright, welcome everybody back to another Raid Shadow Legends video with your host, Lord the Fly. So, it is here, guys, some leaked information of the 3 of the heads of Hydra. So, we're going to go through all the skills that we have been notified about, that we know so far. The first one to be released to the public is the head of Torment. Okay, so attacks when enemy has a 50% chance of placing a fear debuff for 2 turns. This debuff cannot be blocked and resisted, which is Special Fangs. After the first attack, attacks all enemies under fear, true fear debuffs. Passive effect, whenever this head is decapitated, removes all fear and true fear debuffs from all champions, then places a perfect bell buff for 2 turns on two random enemy champions. Attacks all enemies. Damage increased by 25% for each debuff an enemy is under. Now you have another skill, Almighty Spectre P. When attacked by enemies not under Veil or Perfect Veil buffs. I repeat, when attacked by enemies not under Veil or Perfect Veil buffs, hint hint, places a True Fear debuff on them for 1 turn. This debuff cannot be blocked or resisted. Decreases the damage taken from poison debuffs by 90%. Decreases the damage all Hydra heads take from AO attacks by 10. So we know that there's 3 heads so far. There possibly could be another one, a 4th one, hiding somewhere in the mass of all the heads. Decrease the damage all Hydra heads. Damage from skills that scale based on enemy max HP cannot exceed 10% of the head's max HP. When attacking this head, damage taken in 1 tick from HP burn debuffs cannot exceed 20,000 HP taken from reflected damage. The War Master Mystery or the Giant Slayer Mastery cannot exceed 50% pure attack. He's also immune to stun, freeze, sleep, provoke, block active skills, block passive skills, fear, true fear, and perfectio debuffs. Also immune to HP exchange, HP balancing effects, cooldown, increase effects in turn meter, reduction effects. Alright, so now there's our first head. Let's go on to our second head. Head of Mischief, guys. Head of Mischief. Let's turn this around like this. I hope you guys can see that better like this. Head of Mischief. Ooh, nice. Head of Mischief is here. His A1 is Thieving Jaws. Attacks the enemy with the most buffs, steals all buffs from the target, and steals 50% of the target's turn meter. His A2 is Spoils of Mischief. Applies a buff spread effect, taking all buffs from this head and placing them on all heads. Change the duration of spread buffs to 2 turns. The Almighty Mischief P has a 75% chance of redirecting an enemy attack onto another random head. Will not occur if this head is under a Hex debuff. Okay, so you can use Hex debuffs on this particular head. Interesting because that's supposed to be a new thing, and there's only a few champions that do that. Decrease the damage all Hydra heads take from AO attacks by 10%. Damage from skills that scale based on enemy max HP cannot exceed 10% of the head's max HP. When attacking this head, damage taken in 1 tick from HP burn debuffs cannot exceed 20,000 HP. To be continued, Fuji fully depletes the turn meter of all Hydra heads whenever this head is decapitated. Oh, that's going to be huge right there. Fully depletes all of them when you finally decapitate this head. So you can't cut off the heads I wonder though if that's going to kill it. If you eventually can cut off all the heads, that's going to be interesting. So HP burn works, perfect veil works, and with this second one here, you want to get a hex champion. And I'm newer to the game, so myself, I'm going to have to build up that champion. So Ninja is going to be a 1. I'm going to pull in Rector Draft. And then I forgot, I think it's a Dark Elf that does that. We also have Head of Suffering, guys. Head of Suffering is the 3rd Hydra head. One of the many heads of the Hydra, protector of allies, reflector of damage. Not a fan of soul target neuters. Alright, so let's go down to the A1. Crippling Jaws attacks all enemies and places a 25% weaken debuff for 2 turns that cannot be resisted. Will not place the weaken debuffs on enemies with strengthened buffs. Decapitated effect. Places a shield buff on all enemies champions for 2 turns equal to 30% of their max HP whenever this head is decapitated. Nice. So the first one will give you Veils. Second one will fully deplete all heads turn meter. And then the third one will give you a shield. All your champions a shield. Loot of the Scales. Hydra's head of Suffering places a shield buff on each champion 2 turns equal to 30% of the max HP whenever the head is decapitated. Passive skill, damage from skills that scale based on enemies' max HP cannot exceed 10% of the head's max HP when attacking this head. Damage taken in 1 tick from HP burns debuffs cannot exceed 20,000 HP. Damage taken from reflected damage, the War Master Mystery or the Giant Slayer Mastery cannot exceed 50% HP per attack. Immune to stun, freeze, sleep, provoke, block, active skills. Block passive skills, Fear, True Fear, the professional debuffs, also immune to HP exchange, HP balance effects, cooldown, increases effects, and the turn meter reduction effects. Is A2, Thirst of Pain places a 50% ally protection buff on all heads except this one. For 2 turns, then places a 30% reflected damage buff on this head. For 2 turns, also places a provoke debuff for 1 turn on the enemy with the highest crit damage. Okay, so also places a provoke debuff for enemy. So he's an ally. He does ally protection on all the heads and reflective damage. So it kind of looks like he's a support. Places a weaken debuff for 2 turns cannot be resisted. Yeah, so this is gonna be one. Oh yeah, so I want to show you guys my little artwork I've done with the Hydra boss now that I'm going to be putting on the cover. Yep, so I'm putting all the heads together. Putting all the heads together, guys, on the Hydra bosses. So that's pretty much what we know so far. Thanks for watching. I'm Lord of the Fly whenever I get the 4th head. Which this is the old leaked right here. This is the old leaked Hydra. A long time ago they said it was going to come. So this is from ages ago. So there should be at least four heads. Hopefully there's not more than 4 heads. But as soon as I know, you guys will know too on my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. I'm Lord of the Fly. And see you later.